Hello everybody, happy Tuesday. Here we are. Thank you for being here. As always, here we are. So I will go ahead and put the intention up here right away. I'm going to start with a couple disclaimers. So first of all, welcome to all of you new subscribers and followers that are here. We had a great turnout at the holistic fair we were at last week, and I know we have some new people joining us, so thank you for being here and welcome. Then the disclaimers are that I usually have a little bit of a different setup here. So if the lighting looks weird or the camera looks odd, I'm using different equipment because my husband's working today. For those of you that don't know, my husband is a photographer, videographer, and he is shooting some video right now. So usually I use his I don't know, the good camera. He's using most of his cameras, so I'm using the backup one right now. So if things look a little bit funny or darker or anything, that's why. Hopefully the sound and everything is still coming through okay. It's a different camera, but using the same microphone, just on a different camera. So hopefully it's all working out well. The other disclaimer is that since my husband is working right now, he's usually upstairs with our children. They are in bed because it is past their bedtime, but they are not asleep. And it is very possible that they might come downstairs. They tend to do that. They're 4 and 7, so they don't always just stay in bed. And it just happens to be that the weather outside right now is starting to get a little stormy, a little thunderstormy. Actually, looking out the window right now at my house, I know this isn't necessarily everywhere, but it feels like looking outside really just illustrates and like perfectly pictures a Scorpio full moon, because there's parts of the sky right now that, I mean, the sun's starting to go down now, so it's getting darker, but there's parts of the sky that have been really, really bright. It's been really windy here. So there's parts of the sky that are like really bright and sunny, and then other parts that are really, really dark and stormy, and it's been moving around really quickly. So might be a little quick tonight. Might have a little visitor pop in. If you see Layla or Lily, just say hi and they will say hi, and yeah, they know what we're doing right now. So those are my disclaimers for this week. Hi everybody, welcome. Good to see all of you here. Melissa, Mary, Susan, Nikita, Kevin. Thank you all of you for being here today, and right during the live session too. Thank you guys. Thank you everybody else that is here. Feel free to comment or not. We are streaming on both Facebook and YouTube, and then all of the comments kind of come together to my feed. So you don't have to say anything, or you can, whatever is most comfortable for you. So happy Scorpio full moon. It's a big part of what we're talking about. The full moon is today. Actually, the moment of going exact of where I'm at is 7:47 p.m. Eastern time, so that was just about 45 minutes ago or so. So we are right in the middle of the full moon. Excuse me. So we are right in the middle of that energy. Like I said, I might keep this a little bit brief today just because. Hey Misty, good to see you here. Thanks for being here. Yeah, just because the girls are upstairs, and every time they're in their bed, but I don't necessarily make them go to sleep right away if they're not like tired, and I just tell them that they can play with a toy or something in their bed. So when I hear a sound, I'm just wondering if it's them coming downstairs or if they're in their bed or things like that. So if I seem a little distracted, that's why. Also, those of you that are new here, none of these disclaimers are typical. Usually we just flow, and normally this isn't a big deal at all. So Scorpio full moon, 4 degrees, 17 minutes. You know, the full moons, so full moon is when the sun and moon are in opposition, right? So we always have that tension of the opposition. We always have that magnetic push and pull in a full moon. You have that heightness and that culmination where things on either side, depending on everything else that's going on, they kind of tend to pull together and push away, pull together, push away. Think about those magnets, and if you turn them together so they're facing each other, they're going to pull directly together. If you turn one around, then they're going to start to repel and they're going to push each other away. So you always have this polarization in all full moons, okay? It's just the nature of a full moon is an opposition. It's the nature of an opposition to have this, this polarity and this polarization. But within the Scorpio full moon, where we have the sun in the sign of Taurus and we have the moon in Scorpio opposite each other, I feel like that polarity is just a little bit, it's one of the full moons that it's just a little bit stronger just on its own without anything else that's going on. We are in the Taurus is the place of Venus, Scorpio is the place of Mars, so you have that earthly Venusian sign in the sign of Taurus, which is a solid sign. They're both solid fixed signs. So in the sign of Taurus, you have this fixation of earthly Venusian beauty, okay? So you have, and if we look at the light quality, I know this is technically only in the northern hemisphere, but if you look at it in a symbolic way, think about what is going on during springtime and during Taurus season. The light during the day, like the amount of light, the amount of daytime that we have, is steadily increasing. So we have this time of day where, like, the light of life is fully coming into play, okay? So plants have sprouted, they are now blooming, animals are mating and having babies, so there's offsprings that are showing up. I've been seeing little baby geese all around here. I've seen little baby ducklings. So you have this period, or this time in this place within Taurus where life is growing and things are expanding exponentially. They're expanding in a life-giving, a light increasing type way, okay? Then in the sign of Scorpio, you have the opposite. Again, we always have this opposition, but just think about like the strength of these oppositions. So you have in Taurus that building of the light and that building of life-bearing energy and just the life force of light, of the life force of life just coming into play into full force. Then you go over to the other side. Now we are in the Mars, the watery Mars place. So Scorpio is ruled by Mars and it's a water sign. Also a fixed solid sign. So you have this fixation, you have this sustaining, but instead of being a building of the light, you have this building of the dark within Scorpio season, within the northern hemisphere, or in a symbolic type way, if you think of it that way. You have the time of year where it's not the darkest period of year, just like Taurus season isn't the lightest period of the year, but you have the time of year where the darkness is quickly increasing. So you're building up to that darkest period of the year, but you are losing light very, very quickly, and that dark is setting in very, very quickly. So you have this place, this watery place of emotion where, and collectivity. So you have all of these collective feelings and emotions coming in as the light is waning and as the dark is waxing and increasing, okay? So life is now maybe symbolically starting to slipping away. We went through the harvest season. Now things are going into hibernation. Things are starting to die off that can't take the less sunlight or the colder temperatures. So you have this place where we are very quickly slipping into the dark. It doesn't necessarily mean that we're slipping into a physical place of death. It can be, but a metaphorical place of maybe not necessarily death, but things falling away or things turning away into a new portion of the cycle. So you have these two portions of the cycle of the zodiacal wheel where we have the light fully increasing at its full power, full strength, as fast as it can increase, and then we have the point where the dark is increasing as fast as it possibly can. So it seems to me that having that opposition in a extreme growing type position, it seems to me that that's very, very strong. It's very strong to me because I live this access. I'm a Scorpio rising, I'm a Taurus sun. So I was not born on a full moon, I'm not a Scorpio moon, but I have this access and have this these signs and this opposition very strong within my chart between the 1st and 7th houses. So I like to think that I know a little bit about Taurus and Scorpio, trying also not to let my experiences and all that fully flavor it a little bit, but not just totally take things over here too. So you have this intensity here, okay? You have intensity within Taurus and Scorpio. You have this solidness or this stubbornness, or maybe this immovability, maybe. You have these places that are very firm in their goals. So you have Taurus, which is very firm in wanting to bring forward beautiful Venusian things, wanting to bring forward life-giving things, wanting to bring forward joy and enjoyment, those type of things. You have Scorpio, which wants to fully explore all aspects of the human emotion, okay? All aspects of the human psyche, that wants to explore all aspects of the community and of the conscious energy that is around, and they hold on to that emotional energy, where Taurus holds on to that Venusian energy of really wanting to create beauty and sustain beauty, okay? Where Scorpio has this way of wanting to sustain and fully be within the emotion that is there. And I think there's a beautiful way in which Scorpio can within itself, and sometimes it's subconsciously, but Scorpio can fully encompass all the feelings, right? Like, it's not that Scorpio is not able to experience joy, but Scorpio also will fully experience joy, but also fully experiences sadness, fully experiences longing, those type of things. It's like all of the emotions all together. So within this opposition here, it seems to me that there's some intensity there. And then we have this full moon that is squaring Pluto. So the sun was squaring Pluto. It's 2 degrees off. So the sun was squaring Pluto yesterday. Today, just a couple degrees off. So we can still say that this full moon is squaring Pluto, upping that intensity, upping that level of bringing forward all of the things, especially those things that might be kind of shoved down, which Scorpio is really, really good at bringing up those things that are kind of shoved down. So I can move forward as my whole self. I can move forward as my whole self. Scorpio invites us, the Scorpio full moon, so the moon representing our emotions and our the environment around us, and that collective energy, that ancestral collective energy that has made up all of the different memory bodies that are within us. As the moon is sitting here, there is really a deep opportunity for us to reach down into those deep emotions. Maybe those things that we haven't necessarily dealt with well, or we've stuffed them aside. But doing that in a way that allows us to be fully true to ourselves. So not getting rid of that Venusian Taurus factor that we have with the sun being in the sign of Taurus. Next week, Venus will move into the sign of Taurus from Aries. So we'll have Venus back in our homeland. So you have this chance to look deep into the subconscious, deep into the areas that we've tucked aside, deep into the corners of the darkness that, maybe Taurus doesn't necessarily want to go into, but Scorpio does, while also reaching into the brightest sunlight, where Scorpio may be slightly uncomfortable because it might not feel totally real and authentic or something like that, but Venus is totally basking in that love and that light of Taurus and of that life-growing energy. So I think it gives us a really, really good opportunity here to put all pieces of ourselves together, be honest with ourselves, be true with ourselves, and do that in a solid, sustaining way. So incorporating all parts of us. The other part that we have going on this week is that by Friday, Mercury is going to be going direct. So we're going to have the next couple of days where Mercury is going to be stationing. When Mercury is stationed to go retrograde, it seemed like things were pretty strong for people. So still in the sign of Aries. And actually, the Mercury is going to come awfully close to the North Node right before it turns back around. So there's a little bit of intensity there too. So I'm just going to say be mindful of your words and your thoughts, and your actions and your communications and all of those type of mercurial type of things for the rest of the week here, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So Mercury is going to be done retracing the steps that it's been retracing in the sign of Aries. So all of that reworking, all of that rethinking, all of that revisiting that Mercury has just done wherever Aries is within our chart is now coming to an end. Now we have that third pass through, and I've talked about this before, but we'll mention again that there's 3 passes when Mercury over a planet as Mercury retrogrades back and forth, if it makes the full pass all the way across. So you have that first direct motion where Mercury comes across the planet. You have the retrograde motion where it goes across the planet or the point or the degree in a retrograde fashion where it's revisiting. Then it stops and it moves forward again, appears to be at least. And as it moves forward, then it comes back over that planet or that position or that degree, that place in our chart or in our life one more time, but it does it in one final, maybe a little bit more confident, like I've been here, sweeping type of motion. So to me, Mercury going direct just after this full moon is saying that, okay, the reworking work is done here. We're going to move forward now, and we're going to move on. We're going to move on with all of the pieces that we've picked up along our travel, going every which way here. So I can move forward as my whole self. I think this is a great... I really like this one for this week. I think it works really well, really well. I think the Scorpio part of us often has maybe, not that it gets forgotten, but, you know, we, like, the Taurus side of us, wherever Taurus is within your life, like, that is a very bright, joyful, maybe not like exuberant, but like a very joyful feeling area in our life, okay? That's a place of abundance and blessings and growth and sustaining things. So that's like a place that's a place people might want to talk about, right? We don't always want to talk about like the emotions that we have that we like shove in a corner, or the depth of our emotions and exactly what that does to our psyche and the way it makes us feel and all of those things together, like those deep, murky waters of Scorpio. Scorpio full moon in Taurus, with the sun in Taurus, excuse me, it gives us an opportunity to marry the two together. So find where the axis is with your chart and think about how you can marry those houses. Like I said, for me, it's my 1st and my 7th house. So how can I marry the house of self and the house of other, the house of relationships, the place of beginnings and the place of endings? How can I bring those things together? Yeah, so I like it. I think that there's a lot of opportunity to just be true with yourself and be honest with yourself here within a Scorpio full moon. Just fully, truly being honest with yourself in every which way here. So yeah, I'm seeing that we have a few comments here, so I'm going to take a peek there. Let's see, Nikita, thanks, girl. Yep, coming up here soon. Rob, Scorpio as well. Yeah, yep. So this full moon is important for you too. It's important for all of us, but when you have specific planets or angles, you know, have one of luminaries or something in Scorpio or Taurus, a little bit more potent. Susan, for some reason, I'm purging out more emotion than last month. Part of my past showed up, plus thinking the future at the same time. Yeah. Observing, experiencing the emotions, and letting them all go. You know, allowing yourself that process that you kind of just said, that's very, very of Scorpio-like and very Scorpio full moon-like, because I feel like when, so like you have your people that are Scorpios, right, or have like heavy Scorpio energy, but then when the full moon comes around in whatever sign, like it kind of makes us all, so like everybody's a little Scorpio right now. Yeah. So some people won't like hearing that. Like I said, I don't mind Scorpio rising over here, so I don't mind. Yeah, but that what you kind of just said about letting things come up, observing them, maybe experience, let yourself feel it, sit with it for a while, and then letting it go. Not denying yourself that emotion, not shoving it away because it's just going to come back up sooner or later. Melissa, fixed sign, so hitting harder. Yeah, you know, and that square from Pluto is coming from Aquarius too, Melissa. So there's action between Aquarius and Taurus, and then Taurus and Scorpio too. So there's a square there to your Scorpio, or sorry, to your Aquarius placements that you have there. Yeah. So, yep, that's what I have. As far as the aspects that we have go, it sounds like it's not a lot, but it is a lot. It's a full moon, the full moon squaring Pluto. There's a possibility for a whole lot to come up. There's a possibility for things to come up from every which direction, past, present, future. And you know, the moon cycle always reminds me that, like, cycles, everything happens within cycles, right? So I can move forward. I can move forward. Giving yourself that empowerment. I can move forward. But you have to do something. You don't just move forward. It's not just, I move forward. It's, I can move forward. But what do I have to do in order to move forward? As my whole self. All of those parts of me that maybe I have fractioned off somehow, how can I bring those all together to complete the light and the being that I am? You know, maybe it's that we have felt we have had to hide certain parts of ourselves. Maybe it's that certain parts of ourselves have been not very useful or something like that, or whatever other option, whatever the reason is that part of you has been put aside, split, fractioned out, tucked away, not fully brought to light. How can you bring that forward? How can you sit with it and make a little bit of productivity out of it? It's not necessarily the most comfortable thing or the most comfortable place, but you can then know that you are moving forward from that place as your whole self with all parts of you, because all parts of you really do make up you. You guys ready to see the cards that I pulled? Because you just can't make this up. I posted them on Instagram because the live stream doesn't go to Instagram, at least not yet. So I posted the cards on Instagram just to see if a couple people would go up. So would show up maybe here from there. So typical 2 tarot cards. They popped out at the same time from my tarot card deck. And I also have this other oracle deck that I've been working a lot with here recently. I don't know that you're going to be able to, oh, it's not going to focus on this camera very well. It's an Angels and Ancestors Oracle card deck, sorry. And I've really been working with these a lot, and I really love the images on them and the messages that come with them. On the inside of the box, it says, Guardians of the Four Corners, Mother in the Earth, Father in the Sky, Angels, Ancestors, Sacred Ones, I call on you and welcome you here now. And I think that is a very nice quote. I say it every time I open up the box and pull the cards out. Sometimes I just leave it sitting up if my cards are not going back in the box. So 2 decks today, just felt right. So from the tarot deck, the 2 cards that popped out together was the 9 of Pentacles. Sorry, it's not going to focus super great on this camera, guys. So we got the 9 of Pentacles, and we have the Ace of Cups. I just think that is absolutely perfect. The 9 of Pentacles, Pentacles representing Earth, Ace of Cups representing water, a starting, and with the Ace of Cups, starting something new, so bringing all those pieces of yourself back together somehow that maybe you have not, that you have fractioned off or that you have not fully incorporated, but starting something new with an emotion, starting something new collectively. So maybe if you were to pull all these pieces together, you can move forward in some level of some way. The 9 of Pentacles showing us an abundance of resources, an abundance of pentacles, abundance of material, earthly plane things. So support, the abundances and the resources that we need coming to us, and starting something new within the sign, within the cups. So I think that's really, really cool for the Scorpio full moon. The Nine of Pentacles, thinking of like having an abundance of pentacles, I'm thinking about how the sun is there and how the sun is in the earth sign for virtually a full month. So you have the abundance of the pentacles right now, the Ace of Cups. So the Ace of Cups is starting something new. We're at 4 degrees of Scorpio. The moon stays in each sign for about 2.5 days. So I think the Ace of Cups representing the Scorpio moon is very, very cool. 2 cards, like I said, came out together at the same time. And then oh gosh, I wish you guys could see. Oh, maybe you can see it. Yeah, I don't know. Can you see this beautiful lady here? Take a peek at her. So the card that came up out of the Oracle deck is the Water Guardian. Connect with your emotions. Could it be much better than that? So you have the Ace of Cups, starting something new within the watery world of your life. The Nine of Pentacles, having an abundance of pentacles, abundance of support from the material plane, however that plays out for you. And then the Water Guardian, connecting us to our emotions. I think that illustrates the Scorpio full moon very, very well. There is lots of support around us. Sometimes when we're in our emotions, we forget about the support that is around us, but it's important to connect to both. It's important to remember the pentacles, remember the cups, remember the water. So I think these together just, they always play out perfectly. So that's what I got there. Oh, Susan, you have this deck too. Yeah, Kyle Gray. It's really, really pretty. It's one of my newer decks, but I've been playing with it quite a bit. Actually, getting new card decks is kind of a big thing for me. I had just my main deck for quite some time. I've probably said on here before that this Affirmators Tarot deck that you guys see me use most often, these super colorful ones, it was a gift from my lifelong best friend, so that was my invitation to really start playing with tarot on the serious level. So yep, that's what we got as far as the cards go for today. We will do a quick little meditation now, and I hope all of you are really just feeling into truth, really feeling into honesty, really just feeling into being okay with the whole self. All parts of it. The light sustaining part, the Taurus Venusian type part, and the maybe dark sustaining type part. So, maybe these are the parts that don't seem quite so pleasant or quite so lovely. Maybe they're the parts that we need to let come, acknowledge them, and let them pass. We all have positive and negative, good and bad, favorable, less favorable, all of that type of stuff within our life. So finding the balance, right? And I think the full moon shows us each month, gives us an opportunity to find balance between 2 parts of our chart. And I think that is, that's just lovely. So, you enjoy the Oracle decks more than the tarot cards, Susan? Yeah, I do enjoy the Oracle decks too. The tarot decks, I tend to want to stick with images that are closer to the Rider-Waite because there's such specific symbolism in there. I have gotten another card deck here recently, a tarot deck, and I've played with that some too, but I've definitely connected with the Oracle deck more. So I think I agree with what you're saying, Susan, and I think it's because which nothing against tarot art or anything like that, but for me, it's important to stick with the basics, or kind of the original schemes and the original thoughts for things. That's why I tend to go towards some of the ancient astrology type things also. It's probably Saturn sitting on the IC at the base of my chart opposite Jupiter sitting on my midheaven. But anyways, yeah, I like to stick with kind of the original stuff type of thing. So that's my input, and I agree with you on the oracle cards. I think there's a lot more ability within the oracle cards, right? Like, there's more ability to bring forward things with Doreen Virtue's angel cards are your favorite. Oh, the angel message cards that we have, I wonder if those are Doreen Virtue. I think is it a purple? Is it a purple box? Are they purple? Because if so, we have them. If not, then we have a different one that's similar to it. Anyways, I love that they were your moms, because now they have that guiding energy, but you already know that. So, okay, let's get ready to get into our meditation here. I just keep looking at these cards because it might be the placements. It might be the placements within my chart, but like the Scorpio full moon for me just feels real. Feels real strong. Okay. So, I'm going to take a nice centering deep breath first. Another deep breath in. And exhaling. Just allowing myself to release anything that may be pent up. And then we're going to come to our intentional candle. Oh, we should take one look at the intention once more there. Can you see it there? I can move forward as my whole self. I can move forward as my whole self. Take one last look at the intention there. Remember that it's always in the pinned comments as well. Okay, now you can see our intentional candle. As always, we use a white candle because it allows you to turn that candle into any color that you want to turn it into. In addition to that, it's a color of clarity, color of purity, a color of amplification, and those are all qualities that I want to bring into this meditation, where you bring your intention to it, and then we amplify it, we clarify the messages, and we leave with a mind that has been slightly cleared, maybe slightly cured. So, get ready to light our intentional candle, and as we do so, feel free to recite the intention either to yourself, quietly, or out loud. I can move forward as my whole self. I can move forward as my whole self. I'm going to light the intentional candle, wait for the flame to ignite. As the flame ignites, we watch the flame grow. And as the flame on the candle grows, so does our intention. I can move forward as my whole self. I can move forward as my whole self. Let's all take a nice centering deep breath in together, breathing in and out however feels best to you. Excuse me. And then, if you haven't already, bring yourself to a nice comfortable position. If you have any last little fidgets or wiggles to get out, if you need to stand up, move around, go ahead and do so, and then find your comfortable position. As always, we start, especially today, we start by making some room and some space for the level of energy that you arrived here with. I can move forward as my whole self. Making space for every part of you in this meditation. This space of connecting to your breath should always be a safe space. But I want you to especially remind yourself of that today. You are safe, you are loved, and you can be honest within this space. Just taking stock in the quality of our breath, taking notice of how fast or how slow, how efficient or inefficient our breath is. And then ever so slowly, we begin to not try to change our breath, but just aid in the quality of our breath. See yourself as a guider of the breath rather than a corrector of the breath. Slowly, you notice that each breath in becomes slightly longer and more deliberate than the one before it. Meanwhile, each breath on the exhale releases a little bit more air, a little bit slowly with each exhale. Allowing space to connect with your own breath, your own space, and your own energy. Notice what feelings, what emotions, or what thoughts come up. Notice if there's any blockages. Notice if there's any difficulty with breathing in and breathing out. Take stock of any movements that feel like they come with ease. Where does the energy flow well within your being, rather than only focusing on where it may be blocked? I want you to now consider the current physical, energetic, emotional, spiritual state that you are in, and think of one trait, one quality, one little piece of your energy that is shining brightly right now. Chances are everybody has more than one, so just the first positive thought that comes to your mind about your own being in this current moment, and hold on to that for just a moment. Acknowledging, loving, and giving appreciation for this part of your energy and this part of your being that suits you very, very well. Now I want you to once again consider the energy of your being on all levels, and consider one little aspect of yourself that could use a little more love and a little more nurturing. We're not judging ourselves. We're not causing harm, talking to ourselves negatively in any way. Just acknowledging a portion of ourselves that could use a little bit of love. And then I invite you to hold these two things together. Perhaps you even lift your hands up in front of you. Perhaps not. And in one hand, you hold this part of you that lifts up in the brightest possible way. And in the other hand, you hold this energetic piece of you that could use a little tender, loving care. Bringing these two parts together. If your hands are physically up, maybe you bring your two hands together, palms touching, marrying these two things together in the closest way possible. If your hands and palms have made their way together, perhaps you bring them to your heart space in the middle of your chest. If you're not following along with the physical motions, that's okay. Take what works for you and leave the rest. If you bring your hands to your heart space or not, take a nice deep breath in. Breathing in these two parts of your being right into your chest. Marrying the qualities of light and dark within us. Caring for the brightest, lightest parts of ourselves, as well as holding and loving the perhaps less visible or darker aspects of ourselves. There's something very powerful about being able to acknowledge both the light and the dark and sitting between the two spaces without tipping too far either side. Tipping too far into the light or tipping too far into the dark. Both can be equally as disruptive and harmful as the other. Now I want you to picture yourself walking down a dirt road. You notice the scene around you. You can smell the air as well as feel it touching your skin. As you walk down this road, you look to the right side of you. And you see the brightest, most beautiful spring landscape with the sun shining down, birds chirping. Perhaps you see some wildlife frolicking along, gently and peacefully. You can feel that light shining down upon you. And then you look over to the left side of the road, and instantly the temperature feels much cooler. There's a slight breeze that cools your skin just enough to give you a slight chill, not quite enough to make you fully cold. Leaves are rustling around on the ground. You don't see much wildlife except for maybe a squirrel or two hiding the last couple nuts of the season before winter hibernation. And as you continue to walk down this road, looking straight ahead, down the middle of the dirt road, you can see on either side of you both of these scenes coming together in front of you. One on the left side, one on the right side of where you're currently standing. But as you look on down the road, you notice that further up away, these two scenes, the light and the dark, the warm and the cold, are coming together. So as you stand in a place where you are between the light and the dark, acknowledging both, you look ahead into your future where the two are coming together. And as the two come together, up ahead down the road, you see the most beautiful masterpiece of the two mixed together. You see leaves rustling under the sun. You see the new birth of animals being cooled by the shade of a tree. You notice that squirrel, looking for just one or two nuts that it can find, has an abundant supply. Nestled away in a tree. All parts coming together in the most magical way. And here you can move forward as your whole self without leaving any parts of you behind. And as you continue walking down this dirt road towards the path of union, marrying the light and the dark, you move forward as your whole self, completely and fully you. Acknowledging and allowing yourself to be the best you that you can. As we bring this meditation to a close, take in one last nice deep breath in together. Inhaling and exhaling. Maybe one last breath in and out on your own time as you start to come back to your physical body, to this physical place and time. And then maybe you slowly start to open your eyes. And as you look at the screen in front of you, you notice this beautiful little girl sitting in front of you. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. Thank you for joining us. I think there is a wonderful opportunity within full moons, but especially within the Scorpio full moon. I see that Susan jumped off for a moment, or jumped off a little early. Thank you for joining us. Thanks, Nikita. Lily, can you tell everybody thank you for joining us?
Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for joining us. I hope you all have a great week, and we will see you next week. Yeah, New Intention will be out Sunday, and we'll see you all here Tuesday. Thank you, all of you that joined us for the first time this week, and things will be back to normal next week. So, bye, everybody. Have a good night. We'll say bye.
Bye.
Bye.